Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn, and today is some fun in the woodlot. The woodlot I refer to is a 45-acre parcel that I have, which is about 1.5 miles up the road that way. That's mostly hardwood. What I have behind my house is about 90 acres of field and mostly softwood. So we're going to head up to the woodlot, and my objective is to continue working on a road that I started last year. I marked it out, had a video on how I marked it out and why I marked it out that way. I will put a link to that in the upper right hand corner of your screen right now. And you can come back and watch this if you want. And we'll see what luck we have. As always, it's the sort of the road, the ground conditions that sometimes can dictate what I can and cannot do. But we'll get up there and see what's there. So this is the road that I started, and I did bring up about 15 yards of material because this was very rough. It was a drop off. I kept sliding into the trees. That was coming out, and it was late winter, early spring last year, so the conditions are not good. It was muddy. You can see there's a wet spot here. Dig up a little bit of mud when I ride on the snow. So my first order of business here is what we call freeze in the roads, or freeze things up, or whatever term you want to use. We're going to have one warm spell here in the next day, but after that it looks like a cold spell. But with the cold spell and this much snow, the snow is a really good insulator. So with the heat from the earth, even with cold temperatures, with this much snow, it's not going to cause the surface to freeze up. So what I'm going to do here is just, this is my landing area. So when I drag trees out from this road, I'm just going to bring them here and they'll sit there until I'm ready to haul them home with my trailer. But to make this area more usable as far as not being a muddy mess. I'm going to freeze it in, so I'm just going to track it back and forth, and that compresses all the snow, eliminates the insulating factor of the snow, so when we do get cold weather, the snow will freeze up, and probably an inch or two of the earth will freeze up as well, and that'll make for a nice solid surface with a lot of traction. Chains with hardened snow, there's really nothing you can beat traction wise. So same with the road. I'm going to freeze in the road. I'll probably just run up the road back and forth several times to make sure I have a good path for good traction that's frozen in well. So that doesn't look the prettiest, but you can see I turned up all kinds of mud, and that is plain mud. So that should be enough area for me to pull out, drag the trees that way, and have enough room here to sort of consolidate and push them that way. Alright, so for now I'm going to back up into the road until the road ends, which is where I need to begin cutting again. So I don't know how well you could tell on camera, but it was sort of a real rough, rocky ride in here. Rocky because we were riding on a lot of rocks. So when I finish the road here at some point, you need to come up with the excavator, remove the big rocks, some stumps that I'm sure we rode over, you know, fill in the low areas and just generally smooth it out a bit. But that's for another time. For now, I use the snow to help smooth things out. It's a lot smoother in here now than it would have been without snow in the summertime as far as riding over the rocks and stuff. So these green ribbons indicate where I want the road. Roughly, it could be the center of the road, the right. This is not exact. But what I want to do, and you can see perhaps a couple more ribbons down there, is to avoid cutting larger nice trees if I can. So I'll try to find a path where the only trees that I'm cutting are sort of firewood trees anyhow. So like this yellow birch here, I don't want to cut it because it's nice and straight. It appears to be healthy. So I need to decide, do I go on this side of it or this side of it? So I have that twin, I think those are hard maples that sort of branch off. I'm guessing I'll probably take that one down, which means I will be to the right hand side of this yellow birch and then come along that way. So I got to plan that out, and then we'll start cutting some trees. So there's a green ribbon there, but the line of green ribbons is sort of straight that way. I can see them here, hopefully you can on the screen. So I'm sort of standing between that line, which is the direction of the road into the woods, and my tractor. So what I've decided to do is actually my tractor is off to the left a little bit. The road is to the right of the tractor from here. So I'm going to go to the right of this ash, which is well to the right of that yellow birch we looked at just a second ago, to the right of that split hard maple, and there's just a bunch of junk trees here that I'll take down and make the road in here. So it'll just be a little bit of a dog leg, but not much to go this way, and then there look to be some more crooked trees there that I'll take down where the green ribbons are. And the only other big tree here in the vicinity are these two hard maples, which nothing to write home about, but they're good firewood. And that cherry tree there, it looks nice down here, but it's actually dead. So this will be a good spot to make the road. So not a lot of exciting stuff here, a lot of small brush. I gotta trample down the snow around it to get low so I can ride over it with the tractor and not cause any issues underneath. So the next big thing really is probably these 2 maples that I'll take down. But for now I am going to back the tractor up just a little bit closer so all my stuff is a bit more handy than. So I don't think this is a stump I cut last year. It might have been. I just don't remember. Stump there, where the saw is, there's either a rock or a stump or something. So there's a bunch of junk trees here. That bunch there are striped maple, or striped maple, however you choose to pronounce it. I'll cut down these and then we'll get back there to those twin hard maples. So I've taken down all the tiny little trees, as the evidence all over there. This dead black cherry tree I cut down, and it's actually sound. So I got a decent 16-foot log for firewood. It's not big enough to make a saw log. The top was a little punky over there, but so I'll drag that out. I've got an idea where I want the road to go. You can see a bunch of green flags there, but there's a lone one straight ahead to the left. So I moved one of the flags to the left, so that's where I'm going to head the road, and then it'll sort of curve back and meet up with the green flags a bit later. But to make that a straighter road, I am going to take these 2 down. These pair of sugar maple. Most of what I have here is sugar maple. Sugar maple, American beech, white birch, yellow birch, and some ash, some white ash. So the challenge with this is, this one is leaning that way. I'm not going to fight it, so I'll probably not move my tractor. I think probably just the tips of the branches might brush against it, not a big deal. Ideally, I'd like to fell them either sideways so I don't have to worry about cleaning the tops up from the road, or actually into where the road is going so I can drag it out butt first. But that's fine. So this one I'll fell into the road there. I'll have to clean up the tops. I'll drag it out top end first. This one here doesn't have much of a lean to it, so I think I can force it that way, which is into the road. But I'll cut this one first, limit up, and probably mark it into multiples of 16 foot, just to make it easy. If I drag it out tree length, sometimes it's difficult making the corners. I have all the rocks to ride over, as you probably saw, but we'll take this down and go from there. So that one went down nicely. I got 2 16-foot logs, so I cut it at 32 feet. I did mark it at the 16-foot point, so I don't have to measure it again when I'm at the landing. So this next one, giving it some more thought, I like to fell it that way, but I know it'll get hung up in that small ash. That ash is, I don't think it's worth saving, so I'll take that ash down. That'll be another piece of firewood. That'll make a much clearer route for the top to make it down there without getting hung up, without causing any problems. So I'll take that small ash down. It's only about 8 inches at the base, and then we'll work on the other half of this twin tree. So that went well. It went off to the side, so I don't have to worry about cleaning up the tops. I'll just cut them up and leave them there. So I ended up having to take down a little bit more interference before I took that ash down. There's a scraggly old maple I took down. So I'll limb this up, mark it to 16-foot lengths, and we'll drag them out. So I wasn't able to get a cable underneath that ash, so I'm going to drag that maple out that's on top of it out first, and hopefully that'll allow me to get underneath the ash. There's also a small maple I have to grab to the left. So we'll winch these up to the tractor and so I have the cable hooked to that maple sort of underneath the ash. The way it lays, I thought it'd be better to try to drag it underneath the ash rather than on top of it. I wasn't able to get a chain underneath the ash on the butt end. This is a little tricky because if this ash goes underneath here, that's going to cause a problem in the crotch of the tree there, those branches. Hopefully it makes it over it. We'll give it a try and see what happens. So this is one of the downsides of leaving a tree like this, but one of the upsides of why I like to fell them in the opposite direction of how I'm skinning them out is so I can leave a tree like this. If I was to try to drag it out this way, that would be nearly impossible. It'd catch on everything. So we'll drag it out that way if luck holds. But we'll see what these trees do when I grab it. Hopefully that ash will roll over the top of that branch. So the chain on that, the largest tree there, that hard maple on the bottom, just sort of slipped off. It sort of sounded like it broke something, but it didn't. There's a lot of tension on there. Because that's going to change as I weave up and down on the rocks on the way out, but instead of trying to push it, I'm just going to leave that big one here. I'll get it next time, and I'll drag the ones that are still attached to the winch out. So it's the first twitch. That's another term for a bunch of logs you drag out, is a twitch. So you can see the standing water, the mud. Hopefully this will freeze up in the next week or so. The ash was pretty tall, so I cut it at 48 feet. That's what I dragged it out at, so I made 3 16-footers. That section of road that I put 15 yards of clay fill material in really worked out well. I mean, that's nice and flat now. I mean, there's no more mud there than there is over there, but a lot flatter. I don't have to worry about sliding into the trees. All right, so let's head we'll head back in, cut some more trees and grab that bigger log that we left behind. So I decided to come back up and just get this lone tree without cutting any more. One is I like to go back in and out to help freeze in this road. The other is it's lunchtime. My phone is about dead, and I'd rather not be out here and alone in the woods with a dead cell phone. And I don't have any more water, so lots of reasons to head back to the house. So I'll drag this one, cut it into 16-foot lengths, just like we did the others, and go for lunch. right, now we're good to head back to the house. So right now this is sort of a consolidated pile, but as it starts sort of fading out this way, because I'd rather not drive on the logs. Skidders do that, and that works well for them. I wouldn't do that with my tractor. So the push plate on the front is what I use then once I have the logs sort of scattered about, to try to push them into a more consolidated pile. All right, so we'll head back up there at some point and continue on the road. All right, so we're back. My phone is recharged. I am recharged. So we're back here. We've made some progress on the road, so the tractor's back probably another 50 feet or so. This is the stump of the twin maples. Once I cut the trees down, then I cut the stump off so I could ride over it. A stump here from that ash. And I'm glad I took that down, because the tree basically landed right where that tree was. The big maple landed where that was. There's a rock. I'm going to try to avoid rubbing that on the belly. I have several roads, old skidding roads, you can see here where the sort of the double trenches are that go that way. There's a lot of roads that I'm crossing that go basically north-south, but the issue is my land is a rectangle that goes east-west. I think I reviewed this in the video where I laid out my roads, because you could clearly see them from Google Maps where there's no leaves on the trees. The old skidding roads. I think this was logged within the last 50 years, probably perhaps 30 years ago. From what my forester says. So we're aiming for that green ribbon right in front of us. So there's a couple scraggly looking maples that I'll take down. These are larger trees. The way they're leaning, and it looks like there's a yellow birch that I'm going to take down, because I'm going to sort of use this old skid road as an open area to lay these the crowns of these trees down. But to do that, I want to eliminate that yellow birch, because that's, again, it would be an issue with this either getting hung up or getting wedged or something if I don't clear that out. So that crooked yellow birch I took down, I got it's 32 feet, so I got two 16-foot logs out of it. Curvy logs, at least one of them's curvy, the other's straight. So I'll drag that out here to where the road is, the new road, after I fell this guy. So I'll try to follow him right on top of that yellow birch. Well, that worked out well. A little bit of a hole in the middle. Good log for firewood. So yes, on top of the yellow birch, I'll limb it up, drag these two out together, and then I think I brought my bigger saw, my 25-inch bar. That's what I'll use to cut this stump down more to ground level. That's just a 16-inch bar. It's good for sort of all-around work, but for cutting larger diameter stumps, it's a bit more of a challenge. So that one's limbed up. It's 3 logs, so 48 feet. I think I'm going to leave this one. I can get by fine without taking this other sort of leaner down. That's fine. I think I'll leave this ash, but I'll work over on this side since these are lower quality trees. I will have to sacrifice this one, which I think is also an ash, although sometimes the basswood bark can confuse me, but I think it's ash. This one I think is hornbeam. Ironwood Eastern hop hornbeam. It's an extremely hard wood. And then these trees here. So that should make a relatively straight path from the tractor to here, and continue on with the green ribbons. That looks like another nice ash tree to the right there where I'm pointing. I'll avoid that to the left and then sort of a slow hitch around, but I haven't really looked over the knoll yet to find out what the best direction is. But we'll get this section cleaned up, and then the next time, probably not today because the sun's getting low on the horizon, but the next time I'm out here I'll figure out beyond that knoll which way to go. All right, so let's clean up this brush here and then start working on these medium-sized trees. So in looking at the next several trees to come down, which are going to be those 4, well, actually 5, I didn't dawn on me until after I stopped the camera, but these are actually 2 different trees. You can see a seam there. They almost look like they're trying to grow together. This is that hornbeam, and this, I'm guessing, is again ash. There's got to be a way to tell the difference between basswood bark and ash bark, but right now I just don't know what that is. So for that clump of trees, again, I'd like to follow it this way so I can drag them out butt first. But to do that, this tree has got to come down first, and before that, that little one right there has got to come down. Just again to try to minimize hanging up in the overstory. So we'll take that little one down, this slightly bigger one, and then these 3, well 4 if you count the twin. Well, that one got hung up immediately. It didn't even make it past that first tree. So once I get past that one, it would be clear. So I have a couple of choices. One is I can hook the cable up now and drag it down, or I can fell those against it, hoping it takes that one down. That sounds much more fun. So let's do that. It could be they both get hung up. It just means I pull them both down to the cables. Well, I did know that was a possibility since those are 2 separate trees, but that's fine. No harm, no foul. Let's try to get this one to fall that away. Well, I'll call that success. I'll limb these two guys up, and probably I'll call it a wrap for today. Here's the sun. So I'll drag out, hopefully I can drag out these 3, 4 trees. We'll see. I may try to drag out the big maple. I'm gonna leave that yellow birch. I'll get that some other time. Well, that'll do it for this. Actually, that pile will probably neaten up a little bit as I push more into it, but it doesn't have to be neat. That will do it for this. I appreciate you watching this video. Thanks a lot. See you next time.